In this video, we'll discuss installment buying and make some calculations related to some common financial situations you may encounter, such as purchasing a car or large kitchen appliances like a refrigerator or a stove. So first of all, what is installment buying? This is purchasing an item and paying for it in installments or periodic partial payments. So see if you can think of some advantages and disadvantages to purchasing something this way. One advantage is that you are able to get whatever it is that you're buying right away, even if you aren't able to pay for it all up front. And see if you can think of a disadvantage. Why don't we always just purchase things like this and then pay for them over the course of a year or so? All right, fixed installment loans. These are loans that are repaid in equal payments. So for instance, let's say you buy a car, then if you had a loan for, say, $10,000, if it's a fixed installment loan, then you would have a set equal amount to repay, usually each month, until that car is paid off. The down payment is the portion of the cost that's paid at the time of purchase. So often when you buy one of these items, like a car or a washing machine, something like that, you do pay a portion of it up front, and then the rest gets financed and paid off over time. Some other common terms that you need to know. The amount financed is the amount a borrower will pay interest on. Okay, so the amount financed, a way to calculate it, your book gives you these kind of verbal equations. All right, so the amount financed is the price of the item minus the down payment. All right, so whatever you're not able to pay for up front is the amount that needs to have a loan taken out to pay for. Then the total installment price is the total amount of money that the buyer will ultimately pay. So one way to find this is to add up all of the payments as well as the down payment. All right, so basically it's all of the money going towards this item, whatever it is. Then the finance charge, that's another word for interest. We have a few ways to calculate finance charge. Sometimes we know a percentage, so let's say that the interest is 5%. Right? And we could use some of the formulas we've talked about before, like simple or compound interest formulas, to find that finance charge. However, sometimes we don't know that. The problem is worded differently. You have limited information. So another way to find the finance charge is to see what the total amount paid for the item was, the total installment price, and then subtract the price of the item. All right, so like if it was a $20,000 car, and somebody paid, over the course of 10 years, let's say they paid $27,000 altogether for that car, well, that difference, $7,000, okay, that's above the price of the car, that represents the amount they paid in interest. All right, so let's put these terms into practice, try some calculations, and we'll deal with a car purchase situation. Kat bought a 2-year-old Santa Fe for $12,260. Her down payment was $3,000, and she will have to pay $231.50 for 48 months. So that's her monthly payment amount. Find the amount financed, the total installment price, and the finance charge. All right, so we'll refer back to this table, and in the textbook, this is page, let me find it, 474. Okay, so you can refer to that or back to this portion of the video. Okay, so let's start by finding the amount financed, and that would be the difference between the price of the item and the down payment. All right, so whatever she's paid for up front, $3,000, that doesn't get wrapped into the loan or that financing that she's taking out. All right, so the car cost $12,260, and after she pays that down payment of $3,000, that leaves $9,260 left, and that's the amount financed. Okay, so I'll call that part A. And then next we need to find the total installment price. Well, this is everything that she paid all together for this car. So we just want to start adding everything up. All right, so first of all, one way to do this is to add the cost of the item plus the interest. But in this case, notice we don't know how much interest she paid. So we have another way of doing this, and that's to add up all of the amounts that we do know that she paid. So let's start with the down payment. Okay, she paid $3,000. Right? And I could add in at this point, this $9,260. However, notice that that's kind of wrapped into this monthly payment that she's making, and that monthly payment also includes the interest that she's paying as well. So that's the number that I want to use, and I don't need this $9,260. That's going to be covered in the monthly payments. All right, so she paid $231.50 for 48 months. So I'm going to multiply by 48. Right, and then altogether that should be the total installment price, and that's $14,112. Okay, so once we have that, now we have enough information to go on and find the finance charge or the interest. So we look at the total amount that she paid, that $14,112, right? And if you subtract the cost of the car, $12,260, whatever additional that she paid is the interest. All right, and that's $1,852. Okay, so follow along with these equations if you need them, or just refer back at least to the definitions of these terms. Okay, make sure you know what amount financed is, total installment price, finance charge. Example 2, computing a monthly payment. After a big promotion, a young couple bought $9,000 worth of furniture. The down payment was $1,000. The balance was financed for 3 years at 8% simple interest per year. So this one's a bit different. We have an interest rate, and we also know that it's simple interest. So we may tackle this one a bit differently. Okay, so first let's find the amount financed. That's the amount that's left over after the down payment is paid. So it's $9,000 worth of furniture. Okay, minus the $1,000 down payment leaves $8,000 that they couldn't pay for up front that needs to be financed. All right, and then find the finance charge. So in this case, we can make a direct calculation since I know that the finance charge or interest is simple interest. All right, and remember the formula for simple interest, it's I equals principal times rate times time. All right, so the interest is being charged on the balance that was financed. So it's this $8,000. That's the starting amount for the loan. That's the principal. Okay, so the finance charge is $8,000. Okay, principal times the rate, 0.08, that's 8%, and then times time in years, or times 3. Okay, so that would be $1,920 worth of interest. Quite a bit. Then the total installment price. This is the cost of the furniture plus the finance charge. All right, so we're just adding everything up all together that was paid. Okay, so we know that the cost was $9,000, and we also know the interest now, $1,920. So ultimately, they paid $10,920. And then the last step is to find the monthly payment. So what we need to know is the total amount that they financed, all right, plus all of the interest. Okay, so they owed $8,000 on the furniture, and they also owe $1,920 in interest. And as we've done before with some previous calculations, to find a monthly payment, we want to divide by the number of months that they have to pay this off. All right, so this is a 3-year loan, so that would be, okay, 3 years is 36 months. So I'm going to divide this by 36 to get the monthly payment amount. Okay, so that's 9,920 divided by, divided by 36. And their monthly payment is about $275.56. Okay, so there you have two different examples. We found some of the same information in each case, but we did approach finding the interest or the finance charge in a slightly different way, and in this one we also talked about the monthly payment. Alright, so that gives an overview of installment buying, and in the next video we will talk about annual percentage rates.